You've spent years drilling techniques, but when reality hits, your training fails. Here's why the industry leaves a critical gap and how we fill it. For decades, martial arts have sold a simple promise: master enough techniques and you'll be ready for anything. You learn a punch, a kick, a block. You memorize forms, drill sequences, and climb the belt ladder. But this approach has a fundamental flaw. When your well-practiced block fails against a determined attacker, the explanations are circular. You weren't fast enough. He was just stronger. These aren't answers, they're descriptions of failure. They give you no diagnostic framework to understand why your speed was insufficient or how to generate more power. You're left to practice the same technique harder, hoping brute force will bridge the gap. That's not training. That's gambling with your safety. Most systems build a library of techniques, a collection of answers to problems you've seen before. But real combat doesn't give you the test in advance. It throws novel problems at you. What you need isn't a bigger library. You need an operating manual. You need to understand the underlying principles that make any technique work. Think of it this way. Memorizing every answer to a math test won't help you solve a word problem you've never seen. You need to understand the why and how. That's the difference between being a technician who replicates moves and a scientist who understands the mechanics of combat itself. To bridge this gap, we use a framework of 6 elemental categories. These aren't techniques, they are the fundamental variables in any fight. Human elements, the physical and psychological raw materials of both you and your opponent. Biomechanical elements, the unbreakable laws of physics, leverage, planes of motion, force vectors. Combative elements, timing, distance, and tactical decision-making. Processing elements, how your brain observes a threat and executes a solution under stress. Psychology elements, the levels of aggression and insecurity that drive predictable behavior. Environmental elements, how light, terrain, and surfaces alter every engagement. This framework transforms chaos into a solvable equation. Let's apply this. Say your takedown is consistently countered. The traditional approach tells you to drive harder, a single data point that ignores the real issue. Using the elemental framework, we diagnose. Combative elements, change your distance or use an unconventional entry. Processing elements, your opponent is reading your pattern, disrupt it. Psychology elements, he's not secure with his roundhouse, so bait it. The solution might still involve driving deeper, but it could also mean changing your angle, using a feint, or targeting a different structure. You aren't given a fish, you're taught the principles of fishing. You learn how to think, not just what to do. This shift changes everything. Instead of hoping a technique works, you understand how to make it work. You develop a diagnostic tool to deconstruct any threat into core components. You build a predictive engine to see cause and effect relationships. You gain a creative solution generator to arrange elements for an effective outcome, even in a novel situation. The confidence you build doesn't come from believing you know every technique. It comes from knowing you understand the system that generates all effective techniques. You stop being a collector of moves and start being a master of principles. You have a choice. You can continue building a library of techniques, hoping you've memorized the right answer for a test you haven't seen, or you can learn the formula. The journey from uncertainty to mastery isn't about adding more tools to your belt. It's about understanding the principles that make any tool work. That's the gap the industry leaves unanswered, and that's what we fill. Your training should prepare you for the unknown, not just reinforce the familiar. Stop collecting techniques. Start understanding principles. That's the difference between being a student of martial arts and a master of combat science.